Hi there everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm really excited to show you the stunning Avesta collection from our friends at 49 and Market. Now, many of you know I'm a real fan of this brand, and I'm always excited when there's a new collection, and this one is absolutely stunning. I can hardly wait to show it to you. So we can start with the 6x8 pack of pattern papers, and you can see here some of the designs. If I show you this sheet, you can see even more of those beautiful images. Lots of kind of watercolor effect. You've got florals, you've got butterflies, and of course all of the sheets being double-sided will give you the option of having a pattern design as well as kind of a faux texture look. So lots to choose from, and of course everything totally coordinates, making it a lot easier for you to mix and match. Now to go along, there's also a set of 69 die cut embellishments, and you can again use the packaging to see some of these here. Now some of the elements are quite substantial in size, like this one. You've also got some smaller pieces, you've got some frames, you've got some little tickets, some journaling options, and then there are also die cut words and sentiments. So there's really a lot to choose from as you're mixing and matching. So there's 69 pieces in here, really quick and easy to use, and they add a great look to your projects. In addition, we've got rub-ons. Now, of course, I'm really excited about this because I absolutely adore 49 and Market's rub-ons. Not only are they absolutely beautiful, and you can see you've got some sentiments here, you've also got some botanicals. They're really, really easy to use. They're super high quality and they're a lot of fun, and again, add a great look to your project. Now we also have a set of tags, so I'm going to bring these in as well. 18 tags with metal eyelets and string on here. You can see that they are all pre-collaged. Some of them have some imagery on there as well. So you can use them as is. You can also do a little bit of decorating with them as well. And that's of course what we're going to be doing with them. Now last but not least, we have the laser cut elements. And I'm going to kind of hold this in at an angle. You can see the designs on here. You've got 80 elements in this set, and I'll just flip around the front packaging. This is really nice. This is not technically part of the package. It does come along with it because it's part of the front packaging. And these can simply be cut out and used as well. So nothing goes to waste. But the real treasure in here, of course, are these gorgeous laser cut embellishments. So they'll just pop right out. You've got lace, you've got botanicals, you've got some more sentiments on here. Really stunning designs and so easy to use. So you've got 4 sheets. And of course, everything in this collection is going to totally color coordinate and will be super easy to put together. So as you can see, we have a lot to explore today. I've got a couple of projects and some demos too. I'm really glad you're here. So come play with us. Let's take a look at how easy it is to put together a simple, elegant card. So I'm going to begin with this 5x6.5 inch card blank, and I've covered it with the faux texture pink paper. Now I wanted to create some depth and dimension around the outside edges, and for that my Midas pigment ink pad is going to do the trick. So this is the gold, and all I need to do is just angle this toward the card front and gently apply around all 4 sides, and that's going to give me a really beautiful effect around those outside edges. Then I've got my base ready to go, and I can start building upon it. So in the next step, I've just added a piece of this beautiful pattern paper. Now I have to say it was hard to choose which pattern paper I wanted to add in here because they're so beautiful, but I really love having this border treatment on here. Now the other nice thing to keep in mind, I've positioned my floral border down at the bottom of my card, but you could also, kind of depending on the orientation of your card, you could have things going to the side as well. So totally up to you however you want that to go. You can do some inking around the outside edges of this too, or even lift it up with a little bit of foam tape. Then comes the fun part where you get to go through all of those fantastic embellishments, laser cut embellishments, tags, and die cuts, and start creating your card. So I wanted to start with one of the tags, and I'm just going to place this here. Now the tags all have a little metal eyelet in here as well as a tie. Of course, you can choose to do some different things with that tie. You can snip it off, you can add your own ribbon. You could tie it closer to the front of the card to have it be a little bit shorter. You can also just kind of loop it behind the tag itself and then sort of secure that down. So lots of different things you can do with that. And I'm going to use this as my basis for one of the laser cut words. So that word beautiful, I'm going to pop that down on here. So already I've got some really nice coordinating elements all working together. And I thought I'd add in another little laser cut piece here. It says this beautiful life. And kind of tuck that underneath there. Now I can definitely stop at this point if I want to. I can also keep going a little bit. And I've got some faux tickets. I've got some faux postage on here. I can again create another little collage to kind of counterbalance these elements. I really like these faux ribbons. I think these add something really nice without adding in some bulk. And then maybe a little butterfly on here too. We could even put this little guy up here someplace as well. Now, one thing I do want to point out, especially with those ribbons, and let me put this over here so you can see it really well. This is quite a fine line design, and I like to use the sticky specks for these. I find that just adhering these with some sticky specks makes it a lot easier. And I've trimmed down my sticky specks sheet, as you can see, to be just a little bit more manageable piece. And you just place it on there. You'll pick up some of the micro dots. And then when you're adding your smaller, more intricate pieces on there, just makes it a lot easier to do. So keep your sticky specks on hand, and that will really make it a lot easier, especially with things that are very intricate. Okay, so that is the front of my card so far. And of course, when I get this all finished, I will put it into the project gallery for you to see. For the card inside, which I've already done, I've got some more of that beautiful pattern paper. I've got a laser die cut. I've also got a really nice collage area down here. Again, another one of those bows as sentiment. And then up here on the top, I've got a butterfly rub-on. And this just adds a really nice effect on this white area here. And it really balances the grouping I have down on the bottom right. So as you can see, everything comes together really easily. So again, I'll put this card all together and then we'll post that on the project gallery for you to see. So here's another card design that I've already done. And I'm using many of the same supplies, and also most of the front of this is decorated with the rub-ons. So all the flowers that you see here and the leaves are all the rub-ons. In fact, let me show you what that sheet of paper looks like without. So a really nice, beautiful, soft collage design on here already. Works beautifully when you add some of those large rub-ons on top. So let's take a look at how to do this. I'm going to bring in another smaller piece. And I've got some of the large florals. And of course, I also need to have my little applicator. And this comes in the package with those rub-ons. So you'll have one of these ready to go. And what you'll need to do, I always like to trim mine out from the rest of the backing sheet and then just remove the liner from here. Now, one thing I do have to caution you, when you pull that off or when you're handling this or you're kind of playing with the positioning of where you want that image to go, make sure that you're not putting your hands or your fingers or anything on the back or the sticky side where that rub-on design is, because it will come off on your hands. I did that accidentally, so I'm reminding you just to handle it along the edges there. Then again, you can kind of play with the positioning and then pop this down. And because it is slightly sticky, it does stay in place, so you won't have to worry about it sort of sliding all over. So this is down. Then I'm going to take the applicator and burnish this really well. And you can use the pointy tip of this to get into some of those smaller areas if you want to. And then what I always suggest you do is grab onto one corner and just gently, slowly lift do this part really slowly so that you can see if there are any areas that are not transferring. I can see I missed a little tiny piece here. So I can come back and just burnish that down and keep going, walking around the outside edge, and there we go. So now I've got my beautiful floral on here. Again, I can stop there if I want to, but I can also add in some additional foliage if I want to too, because these all coordinate so nicely. So let's see, I'm going to position this maybe right here. So I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to slip this underneath here. I'm going to have some of my design kind of going off the side, going off the edge of my pattern paper. And because these have such a loose, kind of sketchy watercolor effect, you really can't go wrong with the placing and the positioning. They really are beautiful. Okay, and then I'm going to again lift this up slowly. Make sure I can still put it down if I need to. And there we go. Now I've got a little bit that's going off the side here. I can just sort of wrap that around the back if I need to. And then I've got my flower and leaves. And that's what I've done on the front of my card here. So I'm going to scoot aside these things and let's take another look here. So back to the card, you can see the rub-ons have just really enhanced that gorgeous collage paper. Now I inked that with gold before placing it onto my card front. And then I added the green tag, which you can see here, and I've got the tie kind of wrapped around underneath. So again, just to kind of tuck that back behind there, and it creates a little bit more movement on here as well. So the word remember is a die cut, and the beautiful moments is a laser cut element, as are the butterflies that you see here. Now these are popped up on foam tape, so they have a little bit more dimension too. Then for the card inside, I have more pattern paper, again inked around the outside edges, and I have a rub-on over here on the side. Now this is some words that just blend in really nicely into the background there. And I've got a laser cut piece of foliage that's layered up here on the side, also some going around the edge of my framed piece, and then I've got a rub-on sentiment in the center. Okay, so far I have only used that gold ink pad to add some definition to the projects, but you can also add in some other mediums, like for example, the Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Texture Paste. And that's what I've done here for this background, which is really shimmery and sweet. So I'm going to grab a few supplies and we'll take a look at how easy it is to add some sparkle and shine to your cards. So I'm working onto my craft mat, and I've got my texture paste and a couple of other supplies ready to hand. And what I want to achieve is, as you can see here on this butterfly background, a really soft and subtle gold metallic sparkle and shine. And that has just been splattered right onto that beautiful pattern paper to create some shimmer and some shine. And of course, if you could touch it, you would feel some texture and dimension. So let's take a look at how easy this is to do. I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock, and I've got the warm gold texture paste, my palette knife, I've got some water, and I also have my Distress splatter brush. Okay, so I'm going to set these things aside and just open up my jar, the texture paste. Now, many of you may know that the texture paste is a dimensional paste with glitter added to it. So the base is transparent and the color is in the glitter, which means that you can apply it in lots of different ways. You can see I've just grabbed some out with the back of the palette knife. It's nice and thick, so it's not really going to drip everywhere, but we do want to make sure that it's a little more diluted for our purposes today. So once I've got that on here, of course I need to clean off my palette knife, and I'm going to use the water mister just to add a little bit of water in here. Now, taking that palette knife, once again, I'm going to mix this together to create a watery sort of texture paste. And then what I'll do is take my Distress splatter brush. I'm going to pick up some of that medium right onto the tips. And then holding this above my cardstock, I'm going to pull the bristles back and splatter this on here. Now you can go for a heavy application or a light application, totally up to you. You can get some fine misting, you can get some bigger drops on there too. Kind of depends on how much water you're using as well. And then make sure you put your splatter brush into a jar with some clean water on there so that you take good care of that. And then, of course, pop the lid back onto your texture paste. And once this is dry, won't take very long either, then you will have a beautiful piece ready to work with. Okay, so back to my card. I'm going to set this aside. You can see that I've added that splattering onto the butterfly background, so I'm able to get some really nice soft glitter and dimension on here. Once the paste was dry, I glued that piece, or inked around the outside edges, and then glued the piece to the front of my card, which I covered first with pink cardstock. Then I added that laser cut lace along the edge. Now for this, I also recommend using those sticky specks. That's going to make it a lot easier, especially with some of these open lacy areas on here. Now I have a focal with my frame here. I've got, again, one of the tags, and this sentiment on here is a rub-on. Then I've got some beautiful laser cut leaf images, and then also, again, another little butterfly and one of those faux postage marks. Then for my card inside, I have another piece of that splattered cardstock, plus a collage of die cuts and cutouts, and the sentiment here is, of course, another rub-on. Okay, I have one more card to show you, and this one uses the flower pot card cutting dies. This is the die set I used to create this sweet flower pot card design. Now, it's the first time I ever used the die, and when I was choosing supplies for this webisode, I thought this might be a perfect combination with the Avesta collection because, of course, of the beautiful floral imagery. Now, I can see myself making so many more cards with this die set. I just really had such a great time, and it is so easy to do. And you can personalize your card in lots of different ways. So let's take a look. I'll show you how to put it together, and then I'll show you a little bit more about this card project. Okay, so your basic construction is that you start with a folded card base or a folded piece of cardstock. And you've got your flower pot base design here. So of course this is the cutting edge going around here. And all you need to do is take the fold of your card, so my fold is down here at the bottom, and align the bottom of your flower pot with that fold. Secure it in place with a little bit of low tack tape, and then run that through your die cutting machine. And then you will have a piece that looks like this, that will open like this. So it's to create sort of a pocket, flower pot pocket. Okay, so what you'll want to do then is glue together the long ends, not the top because that's where your pocket will be, but those long ends. But one thing that I would recommend you keep in mind, you're going to have another die piece that will create the piece that will go inside the pocket. So before you put your double-sided tape or your glue along the edges, I suggest you cut this piece, so for example this one here, and position it in there so that when you're maybe squeezing out some wet glue or you're using some double-sided tape like I normally do, that you make sure that you're going up along the edge so that you don't glue it too far in toward the center so that this still has some room to go. Okay, and then you can decorate the front of your card in whatever pattern paper you want to. I use some of that floral paper on there. Then you've got another piece to make this top area, and that is this kind of fancy looking die design. And when you cut that, you'll have a piece that looks like this. So you have some open, kind of a lacy area there. If you want to, you can back it with another color before you simply glue it right onto the top of your flower pot. And from there, you can decorate in any different way you want to. Now, what I've done here is using some of that faux ribbon that goes along the top. I've hung a tag with some of the rub-ons on here, and then also added another sentiment on here too. Now, there are flowers that come with the flower pot, but I experimented with those and I found that I really just liked having two simple leaves on here, and coordinated those with one of the leaf laser cuts from the Avesta collection. Then I used the tag die to trim down the postcard die cut, and I added some rub-ons on here and then stapled on a piece of that faux ribbon to be my kind of tag topper. And that will just slip right inside my flower pot card. So I've got my message all ready to go. It's a really fun design and so very easy to do. And this is our final project today. I hope you enjoyed playing with this gorgeous collection as much as I did. A big thank you to our friends at 49 and Market who continue to delight me with their beautiful papers and embellishments and make my job so much fun. And a big thank you to you for joining me today. We're very glad that you're here and we're so happy you're part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. Be sure to see the money saver on the right side of your screen at paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes Webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.